Hey parents, my name is Ken. I'm the founder of A Kids Academy, where I help kids 6 to 12 years old build confidence and clarity through public speaking. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how to get your child to speak up in public in 10 weeks without getting pushback from them. If you are like most parents that get pushback from your child, you are not alone. And these 3 tips might help you if you put this into practice. When it comes to building a child's self-confidence and self-esteem, parents' expectations and parents' involvement is very important, and it will eventually lead them to be successful in school, in their social life, and in their future. From my personal experience, I found out that this tips number 1, being present. Being present doesn't mean being with your child 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. Doesn't mean that when you're baking cake and you have your child nearby to you. It doesn't mean that every day you send your child to work, to school. It is being present. Being present doesn't mean physically being present with your kids, although that is important. Being present means mentally, physically being there with them, spending and investing the time with them, playing with them. It doesn't mean that you have to give instructions. It doesn't mean that you have to instruct them or don't allow them to do something, Just sit there, be with them, and let them lead the conversation. If they ask a questions, you answer, you revert back the question. Back and forth, but you do not dictate what they do. I found out when I do this with my 2-year-old child when they were really young, he has a very difficult time. And when I invest 30 minutes a day, just sitting down there, being with them, being present with them, looking at them, looking at their reaction, looking at their facial expression, just be with them, both physically and mentally. That means without cell phone and without television, just being there with them, I found it very helpful. Not only they change their reaction in school, they change their reaction at home, they change their reaction in social setting by just being present with them, because sometimes kids do not know how to communicate with us their emotions, and that's why they act up differently. That's why they have a lot of pushback. Tip number 2, instead of peer pressures, I call this peer encouragement. For myself, I have trained kids, probably over 200 kids in various settings, and for a typical class that I have, we see between 5 to 12 students. And for a typical class where I have 12 students and 12 of them are strangers in their first class, how do I get them up in front to speak up? I just need to get one person to speak up. Because when the other 11 kids see the first kid standing up in front to speak, the second will follow, and then the third, and then the fourth, and the fifth. Even the one that least wanted to speak, the one that do not want to speak at all. And when they came into the class, they decided that they are not going to stand up to speak. They will also follow suit, because it becomes a peer encouragement for them to speak. And the key here is to put them in an environment where they can help them to speak up and share their ideas and thoughts. When it comes to encouraging your child to speak up in public or remove the pushback from a child, I realize the words you say makes a lot of difference. Sometimes it is the thing that causes them to go for it or to sit back. And here comes tip number 3, which is using persuasive words. What do I mean by persuasive words? Persuasive words, for example, you can use a concept we call a loud alternative, which means give your child an options. If you want to encourage them for a public speaking class, you might tell them, "Hey John, do you want to go for a speech and drama class? Do you want to go for this speech and drama class, or do you want to go for this public speaking class?" Give them a choice. Either way, it leads them to a class that will help them improve their communication skills at the same time. Give them choice A or B. Do you want a butter or do you want a jam? The other persuasive ways that you can help to encourage your child is to use the carrot and the stick. both pain and the pleasure. After you go for the class, John, you will be able to, you get to go to swimming class. For example, if they have a pushback in one area. After you go for a class, you can play with your sister. After you go for a class, you can play with the cousins. After you go for a class, you can get maybe 5 minutes of free time to do whatever you want, you ask for. You know, something like a pleasurable activities they can do if this is something that they are reluctant to do and you think is good for them. The other way to use a more persuasive way to talk to your child is using this word called the fair word. Is it fair that after you do A, B and C, then only you will get C, D and E? Is it fair that you go first, then others will follow you as well? Is it fair? Is it fair? This word is very important because it kind of brings down the guard of this person that you're talking to, in this case, your child. I found out that if you use these 3 methods, being present 30 minutes a day, spending time with them and investing in being there physically present and mentally present, being there with them really help to remove all the bad behaviors that they have. Because sometimes kids have this emotions that they do not know how to communicate. Basically, kids want us to be there with them. The other thing is peer encouragement. It's very important to put them into an environment that would help them to learn and grow. And last, use persuasive language to give them an alternative that could help them to lead them to a better future. And using the right choices of words can help them a lot in that area. So there you go. If you watch this video and you think that it is beneficial for you, please help us share the video to the parents that might benefit from it. Thank you very much.